All right, so good afternoon and thank you for joining us for this policy committee meeting. This meeting is being recorded. The documents which will be discussed here today are available on the event calendar on our website, which is wmc.wa.gov. I am Amelia Boyd and I am the program manager for the Medical Commission. Panelists, please make sure your line is muted if you are not speaking. Christine Blake is the chair for the policy committee. Once a presentation is finished, Ms. Blake will open the floor for committee and public discussion. Attendees, if you would like to ask a question or speak, please use the raise your hand function. And with that, I will hand it over to Ms. Blake to begin the meeting, and I will start sharing the agenda.
Thank you very much. And first of all, Happy New Year to everybody. And thanks for taking your time out today. I know that some folks are still celebrating this week and taking a little time off. So thank you for taking your time today to join us at this meeting. And I think you can see on the agenda what the goal of this meeting is: to provide an opportunity for you to comment, suggest changes to our policies, etc. And with that, I will start off with the first proposed policy, which is clinical experience assessment. It's starting,
So
I think you can go ahead, Amelia.
For this one, we have sent it through the secretary review and they have come back to us and said that it doesn't need to be a policy. So I think we're just going to make it a process document or procedure document. They did have some suggested edits, I think. Let me check. So yes, they had some suggested edits to what the policy would be. If we do still make it a policy, they will make it a policy if we want them to, but they have told us it's not technically a policy because it doesn't, I mean, there's nothing that's enforceable.
Thanks, Amelia, for that follow-up. Did anyone have any comments or questions on this or concerns? Excuse me. I'm not hearing any. And Amelia, I don't know if you see any hands raised or if anyone is.
No hands are raised. We will have to figure out what should be in this last sentence about retention. Should the form be retained until residency placement, 6 years? When?
Any input from those present?
Amelia, Ms. Blake, I think 4 years is probably okay in terms of post residency timing. I don't think 6 years is necessary.
Right.
I think yeah. So 4 years would be my recommendation. That kind of puts it in line with our general review period for most of the other stuff. Although this is not exactly the same, but 4 years should do.
Thank you. So
I agree.
I
agree.
Oh, sorry, Ed.
Sorry, it said, yeah, I would tend to agree. The 4 years is quite plenty. There's no benefit in the 6-year process.
So I will get clarification from the secretary's office about whether we can keep this as a policy or if we need to make it a procedure. And then when we present it next week, I will inform the commission at that time and let them know about this decision we've made about retention. That's 4 years. So.
Okay, thanks, Amelia. If there's no other questions or comments, then we'll move on to the guidance document, communicating diagnostic test results and time critical information. Were there any questions or concerns about this one? I read it over. I didn't, but I want if anyone on the clinical side or anybody else has any concerns or comments about this.
Again, it makes really good sense. Process, but it seems to cover everything we need.
Sorry about my cat in the background.
Then I just want to make sure real quick, Dr. Lyle, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear. Thanks.
Perfect. Thank you. So on this one, you need 2 recommendation votes, whether you're recommending the document as it's written that combines these 2 other documents. And if so, then you will need to recommend that we rescind the 2 documents that it's combining so that we get rid of them.
May I have a recommendation or motion?
Just a point of clarity, are we talking about what other 2 documents are we talking about here? The healthcare practitioners and communicating diagnostic tests?
Right.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I so move that.
To rescind the 2 and combine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Any objections? Questions or comments? All in favor?
I
Aye. Thank you. Our next guidance document is processing complaints against licensees enrolled in the PHP. This had a lot of different changes to it. I hope you've had an opportunity to go through these as well. I reviewed them just a little bit ago again. Does anybody have any comments or concerns?
Go ahead, Heather.
Yeah, so on page 3, and it's the second bullet point, number 4, so in the pink, my only concern is at the last sentence that says that you're gonna, if the licensee is met with PHP, WPHP, and you've confirmed that, you're gonna close it, indicating that they've been referred. But then it says that you expect that the licensee to comply with program requirements. So you can't mandate them into WPHP through this letter. So I just want that to be clear that you can't, if they don't enroll or follow requirements, you can't charge them with with violating the letter or not following instructions or not cooperating just based on this. So I just want that to be clear, because otherwise you'd have some due process problems by saying, well, we expect you through this letter to comply. I don't know how to reword it better, but that's just my concern.
I'm looking at it actually myself too on a different screen here where I can read it. Can you just give the number again, a couple numbers that you were talking about?
It's page 3 in the pink, it's number 4.
Number 4, okay. So when the staff attorney receives confirmation the licensee has met, they will bring the case back to the panel for closure. Panel may close the case with a unique closure. Closure letter should indicate the reason for the closure is that they've been referred and that the commission expects them to comply. Okay, so you want that last and that the commission expects the licensee to comply. Is that the piece that we're looking at modifying?
I didn't realize that I had a 4 o'clock
Yeah.
commission meeting. So now I'm on a commission meeting.
Sorry.
We can hear you, Ed.
Oh, sorry. That was exactly my concern. I didn't know if anybody else had the same concern, so thank you for bringing it up. I just had trouble with the idea that the commission expects the licensee, and I don't know how we could make the leap or have the kind of authority to expect, I guess. I don't know, but thank you for bringing that up, because I was really mystified about how do we have a licensee? What happens if he just says, nah, I'm not gonna do that?
So, Ed, can I speak to that?
Of course, please.
Yes.
Clarity.
I think that, I mean, we had that general expectation built into almost all of our licensees' interactions with WPHP. But I think Heather's point that we couldn't charge them with noncompliance is well taken. I'd recommend turning the comma after 175 into a period and just getting rid of the rest of that
Yeah.
sentence.
That's what I was going to suggest, Kyle.
Yeah.
I like
think
that
that's
so much
right,
better.
Kyle.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is expected. If you met with PHP, if you they may say you're fine, go on your way, or they may say you need enter a program, but if they're not compliant, they're going to report it.
Right.
So you'll get noticed. The other thing that in that same bullet point, I just have a quick edit I would propose. It said to say the staff attorney will bring the case back to the panel for possible closure instead of just foreclosure. I don't want a defense attorney to glom onto that and say, you have to close it. It's this
Good point.
possible closure.
So just add in possible
The
here.
word possible or potential or whatever word you want to use, but just to, so it's
Potential.
not automatic.
Rick,
fine.
It doesn't
hand up
appear
on
to
that
be.
one. Rick.
Hold on. I have to unmute him.
Okay.
Oh, please. Oh, you should be able to talk, Rick.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was trying to give a thumbs up for both of those comments.
Oh, okay.
So I lowered my hand. Thank you.
So that's the change that you want on the last part, right? You just want a period after 175.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments or concerns?
If I could, Chris, I just
Yeah.
wanted to say thanks again to Dr. Chris Bundy at WPHP for taking a look at this and working with us on some of the word choices and vocabulary. I think it's a little bit, it reflects well on the commission that something like this is going through. And I thought his changes were really well taken. So I know Chris is available. I just wanted to say thank you again for weighing in and working with us on this.
Yeah, oh, there he is. Said it was my pleasure. Thank you. Yeah, I thought he probably had a lot of input on here. Thanks, Kyle. And our last one, if we have no other, do we need a motion on this one, Amelia? With changes as
Yes,
noted?
you need to approve the changes that we just made. If you need to see them again, I can pull it back up. And then
I think we're
Yep.
good.
Okay.
May I have a motion?
I'm so moved.
Second.
Any other comments? All in favor
Aye.
with the changes as noted?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye. Okay. The last one we have is completion of death certificates by physicians and PAs. The guidance
Carol, can you
document.
speak to this?
Hi,
Oh, Gina's
Happy
gonna
New
do it.
Year, everyone. I've run this past our DOH colleagues in Vitals and through our legal department, and I haven't had a chance to incorporate those changes into the draft. So I'm looking for help in what the process is to get those changes to you all and have a clean document for you to look at.
You can send those to me, Gina, and if you need this to the draft that we have in the packet, I can send that to you and you can add the changes and then send it to me and then I'll get it put in the packet for the business meeting next week.
That would be great. And then if there are any changes that folks want to talk about today, I can incorporate those as well.
Do you have the document right now that has the changes that you will be proposing? If so, you can share that.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Thank you, Amelia.
Yeah. Sure.
Let me,
It
I
says
might have to
only,
make you a presenter. Hold on,
okay.
I'm gonna make you a presenter. There you go.
Okay. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay. And I tried to make it one page, but I was not successful. I might be able to do that.
Any comments or questions? Concerns?
Gina, I assume that the cause of death mobile application guidelines are coming straight from DOH IT
Yes.
or DOH vital statistics? Okay,
From Vitals, yes.
thank you.
So Ed, my concern, practically speaking, was I would have liked to see within 5 business days as opposed within 5 days, knowing how difficult it is to get these done and how problematic it is ongoing. So my only 2 comments were the issue here of within 5 days, to make it within 5 business days. And the other issue I had was that once this is voted, that we somehow figure out a way to ensure that our licensees are well informed regarding the word, again, here comes again, expectation, because they seem to claim continuously when we either get a complaint or something happens that they fall short. It's like, well, I didn't know. Well, I didn't know. And so, and yeah, I mean, they'll still do that, I suppose, but we have to figure out a way that they fully understand the responsibility that they have.
Thanks for bringing that up, Ed. I was actually going to, once this got approved, bring this to my organization and have it brought to the attention of all the medical staff at Peace Health. So I agree with you. I think that we need to figure out a way to publicize this.
It's an ongoing problem. I mean, it really is.
Yeah,
And I
it
feel
is.
so bad for families, and it's just not a cool thing. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I've run into that problem where families are waiting and waiting and waiting.
Yep.
So this is Heather to address the 5 days. So the 5 days is is calendar days, and it's in the statute. So in the previous version, it cites the statute, which I don't know if it's in this version, but I think it might be important to add it back in because it does say 5 calendar days.
I think the statute's cited right at the top, Heather.
Is it? Oh, I see it now. You're right.
Yeah.
It got moved, but yeah, thank you. So that's where the 5 calendar days comes from.
And Ed and Christine, for your benefit, we've talked several, and we've got a couple of these that are ongoing, where the commission is creating its own CME. I think that this would be probably a worthwhile endeavor to do just a half an hour CME on the expectations, to use Ed's word, but also, to underline the amount of hassle that families have to go through at really the last possibly good time, that they, it ends up being a mess, and you guys have seen it in CMT with the complaints that come through. But I do think that that's on the agenda for Jimmy Bush's group.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
How about the newsletter? Because I know that, well, having access to it and being on the commission, it's easy for me to say, FYI, this, everybody, heads up for you. But yeah, it's hard to get the word out, like Ed, you were saying, to everybody.
Yeah, and I speak from a practical experience of years where, when I was a medical director of a hospital system, you can imagine, for instance, taking this week for instance, and we have someone that passes away on Wednesday, and most people are on a holiday until Monday. So we're talking Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, all of a sudden, there's this stack of documents that need to be reviewed, and the person responsible for doing those death certificate sign-offs may or may not be available. So it's a very practical problem, and so I just want to make sure that we figure out a way that is achievable for our licensees, and that they understand what is expected of them.
So with the document that we're just looking at, that Gina presented, is this the full document then that will be going to the meeting next week with the changes or are we still incorporating something else?
So I think we can,
Oh, go
yeah,
ahead.
we can use this document, but I'll just have to get it from Gina. And it'll get added to the packet on Monday, and I'll repost the packet because it has some other updates. But for this particular one, since there's so many changes from what was in the packet that was available to the public, I would suggest that you defer the approval of it to the business meeting. I wouldn't make any recommendations at this time because nobody has seen this document before today. So,
okay. Yeah. Thanks, Amelia. All right, then we will do that. We will defer that one for approval to the business meeting. Thank you. Are there any comments from the public or any hands raised, or there's something in the chat?
So no hands
Oh,
raised
that was
for
Deb.
me.
Okay. I don't see any here either. Okay, then do you want to go on to the part of the agenda with what's coming up?
So that's just
Or
there for
we-
informational purposes.
Okay. As
So
an
those will be
FYI.
on future agendas. And then I'd like to just make a reminder that the next policy interested parties meeting will be, excuse me, January 30th at 10 a.m. That is a virtual meeting. And then the next policy committee meeting will be February 27th at 4 p.m. That's also a virtual meeting.
Okay. Then if there are no other comments or questions, Happy New Year again, and this meeting is adjourned.